Hey, joining us now on the MARR Army Rock Show, we've got a band out of Chicago, Illinois. They are Evil Engine, and we've got Mike and Chrissy with us. They've got an album out right now called Nullus in Verba. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
How's it going?
It's going great. And, hey, I want to throw kind of the first question over to Mike, because if I understand right, by talking to Chrissy earlier, you're kind of the founding member of the band, so can you kind of give us a short biography of the band?
Yeah, sure. The whole concept of the band was just try to make like adult punk rock, I guess. A buddy of mine that I was in a band with about 15 years ago called The Vile. We kind of like reconnected musically, and like we were like, dude, let's start a new band, you know. And I was like, you know, but it's okay. We've evolved as musicians, and you know, it's okay. We've been in and out of different bands, from like, you know, metal bands, punk bands, and like even like, you know, I spent some time in some goth and death rock bands. So it's like there's been a pretty eclectic musical taste, you know. And Connor and I started the band. We, you know, for about a year or two, like we just kind of just kept like looking for members. Connor finally dropped off. Chrissy wanted to involve herself in the project right around Connor dropping out. So we had about maybe like two quick lineup changes, and then all of a sudden Chrissy had a viral video drop, and then like we just hit the ground running. It's like we immediately went into the studio. We started getting show offers and stuff, and like all of a sudden, like it's like, you know, it's good. We had maybe like 3 or 4 songs at that point in like 2015. So we were like, all right, it's like we need to write some songs now. So
necessity is the mother of invention.
And I think in July 2016, like our ex-guitarist, whom we've excommunicated, has dropped off. And we picked up Jamie in October, and Jamie's been my best friend since 2000. So he's a phenomenal musician. He's the guy that's on the EP. And
so what started out as sort of an artistic concept between two friends has, through necessity of exposure and stuff, kind of snowballed over the last 2 years and become what it is today.
Hey, so I'm happy to have you guys on the show, because it's kind of hard to find bands out there doing your genre now, like the whole skater rock kind of thing. And, you know, I was lucky enough to see Suicidal Tendencies a year ago, but talk a little bit about the state of the kind of skater punk genre.
You know, the funny thing is that it's still out there. You just have to dig for it. That's what I've learned being in a band that sort of leans towards skate punk. It's difficult for us to book with bands that kind of sound like us, because there aren't really other bands out there right now that sound like us. But the spirit of it is still alive. And, you know, we're all a little older and a little wiser now than we were when we all started doing the music thing. So we're trying to sort of burst a resurgence of the skate punk genre with the back of, like, you know, political and social responsibility. Like Mike said, like the adult punk rock thing. But, I mean, we've been trying to book shows at skate parks and things like that to kind of wake things up and rekindle that hunger in the younger generation with, you know, that's where we want your old school Warped Tour. We want, you know, kids with their headphones on the half pipe, like learning something, but also having a great time listening.
So, tell me a little bit about the title of the record. I actually have to admit this to you. I knew it was Latin, but I had to Google what it meant. So tell us a little bit about the record title.
You want to take this one, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I mean, Nullus in Verba. It's the motto of the British Royal Society, and they were really like the first society to actually buck the establishment, like, and, you know, pretty much like go against everything that like the totalitarian church state, you know, like pretty much had in England. And that kind of ties in with like what we do, and like
the title of the EP was something that we had kicked around for a while, and it's in the time that we live in right now, the politically charged kind of really messed up world we've got going on. You can't take anyone's word for it, and that's what it loosely translates to. And so that resonated pretty hard with us. And when Mike brought it up to everybody, we were like, yeah, we need to use that for something. And we thought about naming a tour after it. We thought about it just ended up being the title of the EP because it just made so much sense.
So as I was going through the EP, it was almost like a walk down memory lane when I hear a song like The Resistance. It's just like that super fast, like 1.5 minute song. Do you guys find like describe when you play those songs live as just like a crazy mosh pit for you all?
You know what's funny is The Resistance always gets a really good response, but the mosh pits are the craziest during the song Aggression. That's the song that I'm constantly fearing for kids' lives in the pit because everybody loses their mind. But
we had some kid break his nose at a house show.
Yeah, the house shows are the most nuts ones, the ones that don't take place at actual venues. When you're playing to 60 kids in somebody's living room, that's when the pits get the most nuts. And The Resistance does really get people moving, but that's so early on in our set that people that haven't heard us before are still kind of settling into us, and they dig it, but that's not the one that gets them moving so much as Aggression. I'm always afraid that people are going to leave there on stretchers after Aggression.
It's really strange because there's like a phenomenon known as like the Chicago statue, like in the metal crowds and like kind of like somewhat of the punk crowds too that are like the crossover. Like in Chicago, like everybody just kind of stands there and just bobs their head. Like it's like no matter how intense the show, no matter like how hardcore the band, it's just one of those things where like people just kind of like hold their beer, stand about 10 feet back from the stage, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's like kind of a bummer because it's like you take a look at like all the East Coast stuff, the West Coast stuff that's going on, and like it's like everybody's into it. It's just, I don't know, it's weird.
But that's sort of the writing songs like that is to get you moving because you can't help it.
So, hey, tell me I know we were interviewed today because I know you had a show last night. Why don't you tell folks about that?
Oh, man. The show last night was actually a pretty decent turnout. There's a lot of people there. We played with a lot of really great bands. One of the bands that we were supposed to play with is like a national touring act who ends up having to drop off the bill at the last second. And those shows are always a little bit scary because when your headliner, your big deal, can't play the show anymore, you always wonder what the turnout's going to be like. And we had a really, really decent night. There's a lot of people in through the door. I think we played pretty well. The sound was amazing, and
the sound guy was great, Scott.
Yeah, that was our first time playing at the place is called Cairo Ale House. It was our first time playing there as Evil Engine. I've played there before in previous bands. Our drummer Colin has played there before in previous bands. It's a really killer venue, and the show went really, really well. We made some new friends, some new contacts, and
everything's up on Periscope. You can watch the whole 4 hours.
Yeah, if you feel so inclined, you can go to you can either go straight to our Periscope page, or if you go to evilengineofficial.com, there's a link to our Periscope, and we try to live stream all of our shows just to get as many people involved as possible.
That's fantastic. Now, being the genre that you are, this is hardly surprising, but tell folks a little bit about the homage you paid to the Ramones with that replica Ramones photo.
It was, it's like we didn't plan that. It's like we just found a wall, and I was like, dude, this looks a lot like the old Ramones self-titled album wall. And we were like, dude, let's just do a parody, and like that was pretty much it.
Well, and there's sort of a running joke with us how our guitarist Jamie Booth resembles Joey Ramone if you get him in certain lighting, and at one point he actually dressed as Joey for Halloween, and it was absolutely brilliant. And so between that and Mike being, Mike's 5'4", and there's the whole joke with Tommy Tippy Toes, where if you look at the original cover, Tommy's on his tiptoes because he's so tiny. So we put Mike up against the wall on his tiptoes. We took like 3 shots, maybe hoping it would come out, and it worked out absolutely hilarious. And it just was something that was kind of in between. We had a really serious photo shoot booked, and that was just, it happened to be in the alley that we were shooting at, and we're like, oh, we have to do this.
So, hey, I talked about last night's show. What do you got coming up in the future? You guys be doing, the album's not that old, so are you still writing stuff? Are you getting ready, do you do a touring or stay around the Chicago area?
We're doing a little bit of everything, actually. We are set to, Mike's pulling up our Google Doc for all of our dates. We are set to play, next month we're playing another show in the city of Chicago at one of our favorite venues. It's called Live Wider Lounge. That's on March 24th. We're playing April Fool's Day at Skatopia in Rutland, Ohio, which is the mecca for skateboarding, BMX. It's just an 88-acre skate park, and it's madness. And yes, it's a sight to see. There's a documentary on it. I know you can get it on YouTube. I've watched it front to back a couple of times, and it's an event. And so we're doing that. We're playing a couple out-of-state shows. We got Skatopia. We've got April 7th. We're playing at Frank's Power Plant in Milwaukee. And we got a house show set up at the end of April. And then we're supposed to leave around April 28th for a really short, like 2-week tour. Just kind of hitting some of the South and Central states. And then we'll do some homecoming stuff right around June and July. And we're booking all the time. We're taking anything that really comes in. We're just trying to get in front of as many people as possible. And as far as recording goes, since not only did Jamie join the band right in October, right before we released the actual EP, because that was already done, he just had to record it. Jamie has been writing like an absolute machine, and he has rekindled, Mike's spark in writing. So the two of them are just hemorrhaging new music, and it's absolutely wonderful. And we're trying to do an EP maybe every year instead of trying to wait 2 years and do a full length. We're trying to get as much new music out as possible, and we're still going to do fun cover songs along the way. We did our cover of the Vandals' "Oi to the World" for Christmas, stuff like that. We're just trying to stay keep everybody updated and stay relevant. And there's so much going on in the world every single day. You can't read the news without seeing something crazy happening, and it's just fodder for us to write about.
Well, hey man, I've enjoyed talking to you guys. The album is called Nullus and Verba. It's available now. You can buy it on iTunes. It's out there, or go through the band's website. They are Evil Engine from Chicago. And Mike and Christy, I want to thank you guys for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having us. This was fun.